What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here from DataDash, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you are, because in today's sponsored interview, I'm sitting down with one of my long-term friends, Tommy, in the crypto space, and he's the founder of Energi, one of the few blockchains in the crypto space that's actually fixing the biggest existing issue and bottleneck in the space, and that's security. Tommy and the team at Energi have been able to implement something called defense in depth, which we're going to be spending some time to talk about here today. This is one of the biggest security advancements in the crypto space that could fix exploits all the way from individual attacks on end users, all the way towards protocol hacks and even exchange exploits. And we've got a wild story to talk about today in regards to this topic. I know the setting is definitely interesting here. I'm at the beach here today on the interview call, and Tommy is in one of the many major cities in the United States. But Tommy, thank you so much, man. I know we've got a lot of things to cover here in the video today, and I just wanted to say thanks for making the time. I know you keep busy, so.
Yeah, man, good to be here, and good on you taking a vacation, or at least virtually. We all could use a vacation. Right on. Good to
Yeah.
see you guys. Have some fun.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so I want to kick things off, man, because I think this story that we're going to be talking about today is probably the biggest highlight here. We've got some updates around GonnaMakeIt or GMI, which is your guys' NFT platform that's coming out this week through a soft launch. I know we want to talk about that in the upcoming airdrop. But I want to talk a little bit for those who may be hearing about Energi for the first time, or maybe have heard about it once or twice, but don't understand this concept of defense in depth, because we spent some time talking about this is the hallmark of what you guys are building. And I think now with GMI launching and some of the new projects that you guys are going to be seeing as the ecosystem grows, this concept is incredibly powerful. So take us through a visualization of what it means for an end user all the way up to an exchange and some of the largest entities in the crypto space.
For sure. Firstly, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Killer Whale show, which is airing now. Check that out if you guys haven't. It's a really well put together production, and I'm on that show. I'm on one of the last episodes. So right now, it was just the first episode just happened. Check that out. Nick will probably share a clip somewhere in the description or whatever. So check that out. But so yeah, let's talk about security, guys. I mean, the big picture is security is the biggest unsolved problem in the space, right? Everyone's fighting for the trillion, gajillion, transactions per second and all this stuff. But realistically, the core problem of just having a blockchain that we could safely use, and I think it's first and foremost, it's really important to understand where I come from in solving that. This is something we need. This is why I created it, because it was a problem right in our face. Even in the first months of going live, we started having users getting scammed. And if you have a good conscience, if you're a good leader, you're going to feel the pain of the people who are looking at you as their leader, right? So we had users getting scammed, people losing thousands of dollars here, sometimes their life savings, large amounts of money. And at first I reimbursed a couple people, but then I was like, no, this needs to be solved, just out of my own pocket,
Yeah.
So defense in depth basically means we have numerous layers of security, numerous ways of catching it. We use one of our layers to catch. What I'm going to tell you guys is a very interesting story. I want you guys to hear this, because not everyone knows where the criminals are coming from, who's going to scam you. And sometimes it's not always just a little unknown scammer. Sometimes it's a big entity. And defense in depth, again, just means having layers of security. So you get an alert. We got an alert when this happened, and then follow that through with a governance capability, enforcement capability. Enforcement is really important, you guys. Back in 2017, I worked with Secret Service, and we caught the Ether Delta hacker. I was the biggest victim of that hack. I had $1 million stolen from me back in 2017 at the peak of the bubble, at the worst possible time, because my mind should have been in focusing on getting out of the market. Instead, I got distracted by I never had $1 million stolen from me. I worked with Secret Service. I had a great community who figured out who the perpetrators were very quickly. Criminals always leave tracks and whatever. But guess what? I never got justice. And the reason why, well, I guess the guy's in prison, but I never got my money back. And the reason why is because of a lack of enforcement. So this is the second layer. You need enforcement capability, that if funds are stolen, that it can be recovered. Without enforcement capability, criminals in blockchain will turn stolen assets into something like Monero. And I used to be a big fan of Monero, and I'm a big proponent of privacy and all that stuff. But once I found out that really there's a lot of criminal activity there, I turned, it's not. I value privacy, I value freedom, but I also value giving the day-to-day person a safe place to live, work, and play. Ultimately, if you want privacy, it's all there, right? But we're trying to create a safe environment. The third layer of security is giving yourself time to catch something, because when a hack happens or a scam happens or a theft happens, you might be sleeping when it happens. So you need a couple days to get an alert, check your alert, just in case you're on vacation like Nick. You need a couple days to know that something's happened. And so you can check your email, that you can check that alert so you can report it so we can catch it. So these are the three basic layers that you need in security. We're on another level because no one else is even close to this. I'm still waiting for other blockchains to figure out this decentralized governance aspect, the enforcement aspect. And I can see some other blockchains are moving in that direction, but no one's there yet. But once they have that, they're going to need the T+3 settlement when you're sending to an exchange or to a bridge to catch it. Otherwise, you're going to have crime happen, and by the time people wake up, it's already gone, and there's nothing they can do. So this is pretty. Again, my mind's just gone in this direction because I had to, and I think that's what a good leader does, right? We got to take care of our people.
Just to build on it a little bit, Tommy. So for those of you who are hearing it for the first time and kind of trying to understand a bit more on a visual standpoint of what this means. So let's say, for example, you got sandwich attacked, where someone saw that you, for example, were sending funds to a particular address, and then they will send funds to your address, a very small amount. So on Etherscan, you see an address. It looks like yours, might have a similar hash of some sort, but there's a couple different digits that are off. And this is the hacker's malicious address. It's one of many types of attacks that can happen. Essentially, on the Ethereum blockchain, if you send 10,000 USDC to them, your money's gone. In the case of Energy, you can essentially get an alert that, hey, whoa, like I was scammed in this case. You can report to the governance system of stakers or holders of the Energy token. And if enough users vote essentially in favor that this was a malicious attack, then the governance system can make sure that those funds are not, basically they're essentially frozen and eventually sent back to an origin address. So this is like on an individual level. This could also work on a protocol level, if I'm correct, Tommy, where essentially if you had a decentralized application like Uniswap that had some kind of exploit on the Energy blockchain, and there's tons of DeFi protocols getting hacked constantly, especially new innovative concepts. Essentially, if there was an exploit and it gets drained to a particular address, the network can freeze it. And the reason it can freeze it in time, exactly as you said, is this time delay that if you want to withdraw to an exchange address, so in this case, one of the many exchanges that you could access for cryptocurrencies, essentially those whitelisted addresses, if there's a proposed withdrawal from one address to those various different addresses, essentially it's going to take about 3,000 blocks on the Energy blockchain. And this is, as you mentioned, a couple of days, where it gives time to essentially freeze those funds if something happens, right? So this is, again, I think, an implementation of defense in depth on the Energy blockchain for individual attacks and then for protocol level attacks. However, we saw something very different play out here. And I want Tommy to maybe spend some time, if you want, to kind of go over that, man, because this is something I've never heard of in the crypto space and from a pretty reputable exchange, mind you, at the end of the day.
Yeah, we won't mention what it was, yeah. But you guys know, because you need to know the vulnerabilities of what's out there. And again, you don't always see what's coming, and sometimes, the whole not your keys, not your coins thing is pretty valid. Be very careful leaving your funds on exchanges because you just never know how they're going to behave, and Nick and I were just talking about it. I think exchanges are one of the biggest weak points, in terms of security and regulation. Let's look at FTX, right? They're an exchange, and what happened? They were misusing customer funds, and no one knows about it until it's too late, and then the doors shut really quick, and so I just want to add on to what Nick was saying, just so you guys know, moving on our blockchain is very fast. It's very fast to move funds if you're buying an NFT. We have an NFT marketplace, GonnaMakeIt, coming out very soon. Our soft launch is coming up very soon, and the airdrop to follow. And you guys know it's airdrop season, so catch that one. Yeah, anything on the blockchain is very fast, but only if you're moving funds to a bridge or to an exchange. There needs to be a delay there, because that's where criminals run to. They run for the exit, run to move those funds. You got to catch them that's like the window to catch them. Sometimes they'll just sit there, but at least half the time they quickly try to go to an exchange or to a bridge as fast as they can. So here's what happened. This was just the past week, about a week ago, I should say. And I wasn't expecting it, just having a nice normal day. And then I noticed, hey, there was an exchange we were listed on. We were on this exchange for years, okay? A lot of our users use this exchange. And this exchange basically started behaving a little bit shady, doing various things. And then during the summertime, we were at a weak point. Our price was down because we were building through the bear market, and it's been a brutal bear market for altcoins, but we're not stopping building. We're continuing to build our marketplace and everything. That put some pressure on our price. We had to let go of some of our team members who had sold their energy. So it caused us to have like a little drop in our price at the time. This exchange came out and basically picked out 100 projects, and it wasn't just us, it was a bunch of other projects. And they basically, without any warning or anything, we were on good terms with this exchange. We've been working with them for nearly 5 years. They just said, hey, we're going to delist you guys in 2 days. And I sent like dozens of messages. I'm like, come on, we didn't do anything wrong. We've been in good standing. We've done all our obligations with you guys. We've never been in a deficient standing or anything with you guys. And they were just basically like, oh, our upper managers made their decision. We're not, can't do anything. Sorry. So, I'm like, I was very frustrated, especially considering we paid like $100,000 for that listing, anyway, it was a very painful time. Like since that energy was 4 cents at the time, we're on the up now, or, around 12, 13 cents now. So a couple 100% up and on the upswing, but it was a weak time for us and kind of like kicked when we were down. So anyway, whatever, we went on with it. Now here's where it gets interesting is I was fine with the exchange funds being there, and users were withdrawing money from that like regularly, like almost every day. Users were withdrawing from their addresses outside of the exchange, moving their funds off the exchange, and that was all fine and well. And then one day, again about a week ago, this exchange moved those funds to another exchange. So what they're doing now is they're basically taking those user funds who did not come and withdraw them, and they're sending them to another exchange to sell for themselves. This is insane. Like we've had users using this exchange for again nearly 5 years. A lot of those users are right now away. They're probably working really hard to make ends meet because it's a tough economy right now, and they may be tuned out of the crypto market. The bull market's not really back in full swing yet. They're a little bit checked out. So a lot of people haven't checked in, and this exchange basically stole these user funds. So they already disenfranchised their users in one way, thousands of people. And then they want to take those funds and move them to another exchange to dump them on the rest of our community. How crazy is that, you guys? It's like a double whammy, right?
Yeah.
Dunk on our community first by stealing their funds. You get dunk on the rest of the community by dumping. It's a lot of energy. It's like over 1 million energy, to attempt to dump that.
They just basically want to try to absorb the order book, all the liquidity. They don't care how bad, they're going to drop the price. They're just trying to essentially, from all the delisted tokens, milk as much money as they can off of the project. It's terrible. As if, anyways, yeah, but one thing that this is a true reality, guys, like to know about when you're going to have your funds deployed on like a centralized exchange. I think it's an important reality, as Tom was talking about earlier. While I'm someone who, for example, like thinks that the US has sometimes taken too strict of a regulatory approach, the problem is with that regulatory approach, it has shifted a lot of the exchange weight to the off world. And I'm talking about like, nations where essentially there is little to no regulatory framework, exchanges that pop up overnight. And even some of the ones you may think are reputable out there, you got to be careful not have all your funds sitting on it. And I think even what we're going to be talking about today, what's great about Energi is that, as Tommy is going to explain in a moment, what they've built here, what they have integrated natively in the Energi blockchain prevents this risk. That is a present risk with Bitcoin. It's a present risk with Ethereum, whether it be an external source hacking the exchange or an insider or the exchange business itself looking to milk its users. So yeah, take it away, Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, these are big companies. It's a fiduciary duty for them to look after, their clients. This would most certainly be illegal in the US, but what can we do? And most blockchains have no power to this, right? That's the point. They these 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 people know they can get away with abusing most blockchains. It was funny, and in the message I sent them, I'm like, maybe you guys understand the power of our blockchain now. Because what we did is we froze those funds. They were attempting to deposit it in this other exchange, and we froze it, and then did not allow it to continue. Did not allow those funds to be dumped. It's something I would like to see for those funds to get returned back to their users, but that's a whole. We'll have to get all the list of the users and their the amounts. It's a whole mess. Just because
all that data is in a database in a centralized exchange. I mean, it's yeah, no, it's a very difficult situation and stuff like, and that's again, at the end of the day, guys, like this is a prime example, I think, of defense in depth, essentially preventing even some of the largest and most powerful players in the space who we've put trust into to service as an exchange. And now those malicious actors can't just get away with murder, essentially. I mean, this is a huge, huge win and stuff for Energi and stuff. I think it's probably the biggest example of defense in depth, because if you can stop an exchange, you can stop protocol exploits, you can stop individual attacks, as Energy's already proved over the past couple of years. So, I mean, this is really big stuff, man. This is the foundation for where a lot of innovative ideas can start.
For sure. And by the way, if you guys don't know, we have another exchange, CoinEx. I love this exchange. They were hacked a couple months back. And again, Energy is the only blockchain that we froze those funds in their hot wallet. We froze them and prevented it from being taken, where dozens of other blockchain coins, tokens were dumped. So a lot exchanges are a big vulnerability that Energy protects against, but this is just one avenue. Again, it's your own personal funds as a user that we protect. If you're a business, you want to build an application in a blockchain, you can build. Nick, again, credit to you for this, but you can build on Energy with that peace of mind that you don't have to worry about, a little bug in your code. There's so many things that our blockchain protects against. SIM swaps, another one, royalty protection. Lack of royalties being paid is a huge problem right now, and people are working on solving that. But Energy is a comprehensive solution to all the issues of security. Again, 3 years with no theft, to my knowledge. And again, this most recent theft was just about a week ago. We do still get attempts of theft, but users can't, or criminals can't get away with it. And I'm really proud of our kind of niche, our security niche, which is security. You want a blockchain without security, you got them out there. But if you want a safe experience, Energy, that's what we're built around, security. So
I want to build on that point, Tom, because you mentioned a little bit about royalties and NFTs, and I've mentioned to you before, we've chatted about it over the years. You're a specialist in NFTs, far beyond me. But I know one of the biggest issues that even I started to hear about after you've been talking about it for nearly a year was this issue of royalties on NFTs, and how OpenSea and a lot of the major platforms were stripping royalties from the artists who created NFT collections. This is kind of like one of the bread and butter pieces of NFTs and why they really took off. And now a lot of creators are looking for that new place to be able to deploy their NFTs and different types of communities. And you guys have focused on that with Energi. So I wanted to maybe give you the stage to talk a little bit about GMI, or GonnaMakeIt, which is your guys' NFT platform, the upcoming airdrop as well. I understand that you guys are going to be relaunching mainnet here pretty soon. I remember trying it out on testnet like a year and a half ago and stuff. So it's cool to see it's finally coming together, man. I know you guys have been working hard on it.
Yeah, it's if you guys are builders in the space, you know how much work goes into building. And if you aren't, it's a lot of work to build. So it's a good looking marketplace, just like everything we do, good quality stuff. GonnaMakeIt.com. And you guys probably know it's airdrop season, and we are definitely embracing that. So look out for that. The GMI airdrop. It's going to make a lot of noise here, I expect. It's a pretty cool, fun airdrop based on X activity, how much you post about us on X during the time, as well as rewarding some NFT collections. So if you guys are building an NFT collection, those people who do build on our marketplace and launch their collections, you guys are going to get part of our airdrop as well too. So people who are using our platform and all that, are going to get a chunk of the airdrop. So if any of you guys are artists or building a collection or any NFT project, you're going to benefit from that with the airdrop, of course. But obviously, the main benefits really are you don't have to worry about theft. You don't have to worry about not getting paid royalties. You don't have to worry. They're building new protocols. The whole issue of royalty theft happened because just again weakness in the lack of governance on the protocol level of Ethereum. And once again, I love Ethereum. I'm a huge fan of Ethereum. I've been fighting for Ethereum since it came out, against the other maxi and all that. But the issue is the lack of governance. And we can put band-aids all over. There's different band-aids that help certain aspects to protect against security. But again, Energi is an all-encompassing solution, and that's really, and I built this because, again, the future of the space, the end game of crypto, you guys, if you don't know, I thought about this a lot. The end game of crypto is competition for governance, competition for who can govern, what blockchains can govern themselves best, that can protect their citizens or their users, whoever's on the blockchain the best. We're all going to be expecting that of blockchains in, say, 20 years. But for the time being, we're kind of leading the way in that. But I want to see that evolution, because that evolution for competition for governance brings freedom. Money is the blood of the world, and we do need that security. It's one thing to say, as much as we hate to see, the DC politicians, try to crack a whip on crypto, they do have a valid point that there is a lot of crime and stuff.
We had our 2008 moment, like with FTX and Celsius and BlockFi. I mean, what do we have to show for after all these years? We have no apparatus for security. And exactly as you said, Tommy, I look around at all the alternative L1s and L2s, and no doubt there are other ones that excite me and stuff beyond Energi as well, like that are doing their own thing. But I have to say, so many of them are EVM forks. And the problem is that all they're focused on is trying to take some chunk of transactions away from Ethereum and serve as a scaling solution. And that's okay. But the problem is that none of those protocols, if I can exploit a smart contract on Ethereum, I can do it on Optimism, I can do it on Binance Smart Chain, I can do it on Polygon. I can go liquidate all the funds of those contracts for any new innovative DeFi protocol and all of its ecosystems. The only place I can't do that's Energi. And that's a huge point. Like, if you're trying to build anything new, like if your example, like, it doesn't matter if you're even a builder, if you're an investor and you want to, be farming for airdrops or deploying your capital or buying coins related to new DeFi protocols that could be the next Uniswap or Aave, you have to constantly worry about the shadow behind you that is a smart contract exploit and draining all that liquidity and funds. And you're completely disincentivized. That's why DeFi has been stagnant for the last 2 years. You, as a user or developer, you have no benefit. But if you're on Energi as a developer user, you don't have to worry about these things. You can experiment to new ideas. And we talked about it, Tommy, like in prior interviews, that this was, like, I think who proved this was Andre Cronje. He was one of the big DeFi figures back in 2019, 2020, and he would always deploy to production. That was his mindset. And the reason why is because people want to test with real money. They want to get a feel. They want to be early stage. They want to potentially get airdrops rewards. And this is, again, I can echo it like a million times, guys, but this is really, as Tom is, I think, as you're saying quite eloquently and stuff, this is the biggest barrier to crypto. And it's going to take some time for people to realize it, but you are one of the only bets in this space I've seen. Like, if I view Energi as like a bet in crypto, you are one of the few projects that's actually taken this serious and actually feels a weight of ramification for how your users do on your network. Like that's so rare. And it's so much of the space just kind of tilting its head and saying, oh, not your keys, not your coins, or, oh, it's your, use at your own risk. It's not your fault. And it actually it's your fault as an end user. This is the reason crypto is not tailored to a mainstream audience. And if we want to get crypto to multi-trillion dollars in market cap, we got to start building something that can be usable by people. Yeah.
100 million%. Yeah. I mean, how are we going to onboard, right? Every cycle is onboarding way more people. This cycle is going to expose hundreds of millions of people to crypto, potentially. Yeah. And what are we bringing them into? It's going to be like a scam fest, No, like, this is what we're creating is the foundation of what blockchain needs in the future. Again, I'm baffled every day I think about it. I'm baffled. How are we the only ones who've done this? If you asked me when I was doing this with Energy, when originally I was doing security way back in the day, hey, Tommy, fast forward 5 years, by the way, you're still the only blockchain that has really solved the security problem. I wouldn't believe, how could no one else do it? All these huge blockchains, to your point, Nick, I've noticed most blockchains focus on two things: faster transactions, low speeds. Got it. So now that's the same story for like
Yeah.
hundreds of blockchains. You know, we got it. Yeah, everything's cheap on a blockchain that isn't full. You know, if a blockchain's not full, fees are probably going to be like probably a couple
Couple
cents or something.
cents.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Could be
okay.
as low as a penny or whatever. But that, as you mentioned, that's not the problem. Like it's there's tons of places for that throughput to go through now, especially with like you see even like Optimism and some of these other L2s that are like they're building new segments of the Optimism stack and stuff. And that just again, yeah, we have all the throughput in the world. We have Solana where you can trade meme coins up and down, left and right for practically no cost. But that's not the problem. The problem is these smart contracts. You could be trading that meme coin and you're going to lose all your money because there's a smart contract exploit. I think it's, again, Tommy, like, I know we're beating it like a drum and stuff, but like this is such a big problem for the crypto space. And I'm very excited to see now that you guys have built this foundation, as more and more people realize it, what kind of projects that have been just waiting on the sidelines to be built are going to start coming towards Energy, whether that's NFTs or DeFi protocols or users who have been burnt in the crypto space who expect some degree of security built in. I think it's going to be a huge game changer.
Totally. And I wanted to come here and tell you guys this story because of I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this event to happen. I didn't see it coming. And that's the whole point. We don't see what shenanigans someone's up to, but we need an ability to respond to it. And I'm sure there's going to be new versions of hacks, scams, theft attempts, imitation attempts, more sophisticated attacks, more SIM swaps. Who knows? You know, there's all sorts of stuff we haven't even seen yet, but we should be proactive about it and position ourselves in a way that we have some degree of immunity toward it, you know, or maybe like a really good immunity toward it. And I really want to see that for more of the space too. You know, I am leading the way in that. I encourage other blockchains to get on this level because until we get on this level, it's the wrong culture. It's the wrong culture. Exactly as you said. I see poor people who get scammed and they're like, yeah, it's my fault. So is it your fault if you walk down the street and you know you're just walking down the street, someone pulls a gun on you? Is that your fault? I guess, you know, like maybe you should have been carrying an AK-47 and wearing body armor and you know had 911 or 9 or you know like the
911 on
police
speed
on speed
dial. Like,
dial. And
yeah.
like, yeah, I guess it could be your fault. But on the other hand, why don't you just live in a safe neighborhood? And then
That
that's a big
has
part
some
of it.
degree of enforcement. Like, and this is I wanted to make it very clear is because I know some people might have missed it, Tommy, like just to, because this is a thing I know you have to explain to people. It's not you like deciding which transactions are scams. It's a network of stakeholders, right? So if we can
Good
entrust,
point.
like, and like people, for example, say this is a not decentralized. Is it decentralized that in Ethereum or the vast array of networks that use proof of stake that we trust stakeholders to validate transactions? If that is decentralization, then why is it not decentralization for those stakeholders to have a say in determining malicious transactions and determining governance proposals? Like this is, we need to be realistic here. Like maybe in the future when Energy or other crypto networks are multi-trillion-dollar networks and they're established and we understand the common exploits and you have protocol upgrades to fix those exploits or account for them, like maybe we get to a point where like we don't have so much like lenience on stakeholders being able to vote in the governance center. But this has been a overall net benefit system. It hasn't been utilized for malicious activity. And ironically enough, because of the time-weighted restriction to exchange accounts, it's as if there really can't be any malicious activity here and stuff. Like there's no incentive here for the stakeholders of the network to do that. If anything, it's for them to protect the end users and make sure that the network is being used for a reason. So no, anyways, Tom, no, I know we went on for a good amount of time, man, but I have to say this is something really exciting. And I guess just in closing, for those who are interested, I want to kind of hit on a couple things. Like for those who are looking to like not only get a hold of Energy, like, potentially to invest in it, but along with it as well, to develop in the ecosystem, who want to learn more about defense in depth, who might want to become a part of the ecosystem as a whole, what are the best places for people to go on that, Tommy? And I'll leave the links down below in the description, guys, so you guys can check them out as well as easy as possible.
For sure. First thing, and I just want to add on your point, Nick, I want to emphasize again, because it's the most common thing I hear, decentralization. You guys understand that there's already DAOs out there, right?
Yeah.
Like ApeCoin, I have a Bored Ape PFP. There's an ApeCoin DAO. They vote on how to allocate funds. There's a Polkadot DAO. They vote on how to allocate funds. So DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations, this technology already exists. All I did was take that and extend it to also enforcement capability on the blockchain, guys. Just so you guys get your head around it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So it's already, the sort of direction's already there, but people are missing the enforcement part of it that you need to have. The governance can do that too. Okay, so jumping onto Energi. So first thing I want to say, guys, we're really welcoming builders on our blockchain now. I wanted to make sure we have good mature tech. It's an Energi is EVM compatible. So if you're building on Ethereum, on Polkadot, on the Avalanche C chain or a variety of other chains, Binance Smart Chain, those applications are very portable to Energi. You can DM me on X. I'm at Tommy World Power, and I have my DMs open, and I can help get you guys connected to any resources you need to get going. So if you guys are builders, come on over. And I wanted to build a DEX and an NFT marketplace, which an NFT marketplace is essentially a decentralized exchange as well for NFTs. So we wanted to provide those avenues because a lot of people have a token, whether it's a ERC20 token or whether it's an NFT or whatnot. So that's why we built GonnaMakeIt. So we have all the things you guys need for projects. If you want to have an NFT project or traditional project, we have all that. And we're continuing to build all that stuff and improve it. But I'd say our tech is pretty good at this point. General information, energi.world. But again, pay attention for our GonnaMakeIt airdrop. We did an airdrop with Energi at the very beginning of Energi, and airdrops are really one of the most powerful forms of marketing. I've noticed that over the years, and we embrace that. So if you guys want to participate, that's a great way to participate. And that's what we're really promoting right now is our, the GonnaMakeIt marketplace, as well as participating in that airdrop, get your share of it. And again, come bring your NFT project and put it on our marketplace, benefit from the security. We already said that. And, we set aside
royalties and all the things that are missing right now in the NFT ecosystem. So yeah, man. No, Tommy, this has been awesome, man. Really great conversation as always. Again, I've known Tommy here, guys, since like late 2018. I've been following Energi for a long time. Tommy has been focused on building, not marketing over these last few years. And now this is finally Energi coming to the forefront. And it's time for that ecosystem development to start kind of showcasing itself. I think now that you guys have really built that prime entrant opportunity. So guys, thank you as always for making the time and stuff to stick around in this interview. Tommy, thank you as well for making the time. It was a pleasure to get to catch up. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this next chapter will look like with the upcoming mainnet launch of GMI, the airdrop, and also as well, Energy's defense in depth just continuing to play out over the long run.
Well, thanks again for having me, Nick. And once again, guys, check me out on the Killer Whale Show. Again, I'll be one of the last episodes. It's an entertaining episode, so you guys will like it. And it's a cool show to check out. So check that out. And enjoy the week, guys. We'll catch you guys then.
Awesome.